Hello and welcome to part 6 of the first of the 3 weekly lessons about Oracle Jet. In the previous part you were introduced to Oracle Jet components. Each Oracle Jet component consists of business logic in JavaScript and a view expressed in HTML. In this part you will learn about the Require.js Text Plugin Library, which is an extension of Require. Require Text is another useful free and open source library that is part of Jet. Require.js Text lets you load text resources. In Jet, Require.js Text lets you separate your HTML templates from your JavaScript files. By separating your business logic from your templates, you're able to separate the concerns of business logic from those of the view. For example, UI designers can independently work on the user interface of an application, while JavaScript developers work on the underlying business logic. As a first example of the usefulness of the Require.js text functionality, we're going to replace this hard-coded set of data with data coming from a file. Right now the data is inside the incidents.js file. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it into a new file, into a JSON file that I will call data, which will be inside of a folder also called data. Of course, the file and the folder could have any name at all. I'm going to paste this in here and then add quotation marks around each of the texts that don't have a quotation mark to make it valid JSON. And once I have done that, just to make it look a little bit better, I'm going to format it. Now we have a JSON file. The point of the exercise here is to incorporate the data found in this file inside of our Oracle Jet module. The way to do that is to use Require.js Text. So we start by first of all parsing a payload that we will call file. That doesn't exist right now. Take note here that JSON.parse works fine, though you are recommended to use the jQuery getJSON call to get any JSON data. This approach, also used throughout Oracle Jet's documentation, allows for the code to wait for a promise to be returned before continuing with the rest of the code that may require the data to be present. Also note that the Require.js Text plugin allows you to load local resources from the file system as a text string and then manipulate it as needed. While you could use an AJAX call to load local JSON data, using something like getJSON from jQuery, you can also use this alternative method with a simple Require Text plugin call. You could use this to load static HTML fragments or even CSS style information. We're going to put in the callback function of our define block the parameter file, which right now is not defined. And we can see that it is the fourth parameter, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up until this point, we have not discussed function callbacks yet. This is part of the define block and also part of a require block. We can see that we have 4 different items right now referenced in our define block. The order in which these items are referenced should reflect the same order as in which they are used within the callback function. Right now, the file item is the 4th item, and therefore our 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th item should be a reference to that file. The way that we reference the file is by means of the text protocol, which comes from the Require.js Text plugin. If Oracle Jet did not include Require.js Text, we would not be able to use this protocol here. Text with the exclamation mark, followed by the name of the folder relative to the JS folder, followed by the name of the file, data.json. When we look in the browser, we will see that the Require.js Text plugin loads data.json, that it is passed in to the callback function as file, and that reference inside of our json.parse is that same file that is referenced inside of our callback function, and hence that our data is loaded. Back in the browser, we see the same result as before, with the difference that thanks to Require.js Text, The data is now loaded from a file rather than being hard-coded directly inside of our Oracle.js module. In short, Require.js Text is useful when you want to load files into an Oracle.js module. The Requirejs Text plugin is also used internally within Oracle.js. You may have been wondering why dashboard.js and dashboard.html are loaded together as the Oracle.js dashboard module, and why incidents.js and incidents.html are loaded together as the Oracle.js incidents module. How that happens and what makes that possible is something called OJ module. OJ module is used inside of the index file. You will see within the index file that there is a reference in the main part of the index file to a data bind set to OJ module. You've seen data bind being used before. Data bind is an attribute provided by Knockout. You've seen the data bind attribute being used to connect the text attribute of a span element, for example. You've also seen it being used together with the definition of Oracle.js components. And here you see a different binding provided by Oracle.js called OJ module. This is a binding provided by Oracle.js to enable the loading of Oracle.js modules. Here you see that OJ module points to something called a router, which is a topic that we will look at later. The router is defined in the app controller JavaScript file. You can see a set of keys, dashboard, incidents, customers, and about, which is the way by means of which by default the OJ module binding loads Oracle.js modules. For each of these keys, OJ module is going to look inside of the JS View Models folder for a matching JavaScript file and in the JS Views folder for a matching HTML file. You can override this behavior, but this is the default way in which OJ module works, using under the hood the Require.js Text plugin to load together as one the dashboard.js file and the dashboard.html file as an Oracle.js module. The OJ module binding enables a separation of concerns between business logic in JavaScript and a view defined in HTML. In this part, you have learned about the benefit of separating the business logic from the view of your JavaScript applications, together with the support that Require.js Text provides. For your homework, we recommend you explore this concept further. And as always, we thank you for taking part in the course and look forward to seeing you in the next part.